Sir Tim, good morning.
Morning.
Thank you so much for having us here. So first, before we go into specifics on Emirates' performance, I'd like to set a little bit the stage on the context of our KPMG Customer Experience Excellence report that just came out. This year, actually, the study highlights a key shift in what matters most for customers in the UAE. Trust and human connection are taking basically the most important center stage in our study. Integrity, for the first time, overtaken personalization as the #1 driver of customer loyalty. So a big change here in the market. I would say at the time where global markets saw a stagnation and even a decrease in terms of customer experience, we saw UAE actually being strong and get a 1.5% increase. This is amazing. And obviously this is a sign that the local brands are actually doing what is right and basically are blending at the same time the digital innovation, but with a very emotional intelligence. Emirates, once again, and congratulations again, leads this pack for the 3 years, consecutive 3 years, ranking #1 on customer experience. We would say that from AI-driven personalization to world-class service on the ground, but obviously as well in the air, the airline continues to amaze us and actually set the benchmark, not only for the region, but I would say worldwide. So with this in mind, let's start by asking, what's been in the heart of Emirates' ability to consistently having to deliver this exceptional customer experience in such a, I would say, fast evolving landscape?
Let's roll the clock back a little bit. In fact, when we started the airline in 1985, one of the key constituents of the business model then was to create and sustain one of the best service delivery models in the world. At the time, and I was partly responsible for writing that business model, it appeared to me that there was the landscape in which civil aviation operated, all the airlines that were going to be our future competitors were in the depths of mediocrity with regard to how they went about their service. And as we activated this airline and got it going, that particular segment of the business model never changed. Our focus was to provide the best in the air as best we could. That meant that we had to put all the resources into that. It's been a 40-year build to do this. Recruiting the right people, coming up with service and procedures and all the bits and pieces that our customers know today when they travel on Emirates. But all the time, in the last 40 years, there has been multiple revolutions in what society has had to go through, not the least of which is the digital revolution. And that continues to morph at pace, whether it be AI, whether it be quantum computing coming along later. But at the center of all of this, we are carrying human beings, irrespective of all these technology platforms that assist in what we do. At the front of the tip of the sword, as I call it, is our service delivery and the product and the designs that we put into that. After all, that's all we do. We carry people from A to B, and we also fill our cargo holds. But we are what we call a derived demand, and we're in the sense that people travel on us, going from A to B, and they are just using us as a means to get there. But it's a highly competitive industry. But the ability to create the size of Emirates that we have today, given this fabulous city that we're working in or living in at the moment, was driven by the need, a consistent need, irrespective of everything that's going on around us, whether it be back of house technology, whether it be socio-geopolitical events in this part of the world or in the world today. Always ensure that you sustain the product that you've designed, which enables you to, as you mentioned, talk about integrity, trust, belief. Emirates is a brand. As a result of all the things that we've done, we are respected, we are trusted, and we are considered to be a brand of integrity. And we've earned that because basically we're good at what we do. I'm not boasting the company's or all the successes it's had, but it's a fact of the matter. We work hard. We are very much self-critical. We look at everything that goes on. I look at everything on the airplane. I have a lot to do with the design of the interiors of the airplanes, working with the service delivery teams and the operational group to get this absolutely right. The focus from the top to the delivery colleagues that we have, cabin crew or ground, is very much an iterative sort of process. And it's vital to what we do, because without that, our brand would not be what it is. And as we go forward, it's very important that this is sustained as the heart of what we do.
No, I actually, this you brought obviously to life a set of aspects that I think are key, and I think that the human touch is there. And again, I'm also a passenger, and so I actually felt that. But in an era where many brands struggle to actually balance the technology evolutions that are coming, you mentioned AI, quantum computing, with the empathy, which actually it is critical at this moment for a brand to excel. How does Emirates ensure that personalization and this human-centric service remains in the forefront of the customer experience?
Well, as I said, it's without that, the business model starts to falter. We have a job to do for the ownership and obviously for Dubai, to ensure that this airline remains of first recall. It's an airline, as I said earlier, that is trusted and respected, and that people want to travel on us and enjoy traveling on us. That remains absolutely critical. For the last 40 years and the next 40 years, it will be something that has to be out there. We need to innovate. We need to make sure that our colleagues on the air, in the air on the ground, are right up there and understand how important it is for them to deliver what we've designed for them, and all the back of house stuff, as I mentioned, with regard to technology, whether we look at what people do, what they eat, where they're coming from, etc. We can basically design sets of products a lot more intelligently than perhaps we might have done in the early days. But we were good then, without technology. With technology, we're going to be even better. But we will always keep the human being at the heart and soul of what we do, because that's all we do. A lot of brands out there today, a lot of companies, marketing brands, etc., are going into the online world, which seems to be the main sort of point of reach, and quite rightly so. You're reaching a lot more people than you used today. But there is a plethora of brands. It's a confusing situation. Many of the people in the online world, that's all of us, etc., are confused by what they see. And in many respects, it actually creates confusion as to who they are, because you're seeing all sorts of things going on that you don't quite know whether you want this or you want that, etc. Through all of this, the brand that comes out, we are fortunate in that we are a set of products that involves the human being. There are a lot that don't, surprisingly, but we play that to our advantage. So you may be confused, you may be this, you may be that, but in the end, when you come to Emirates, you're going to get a world-class product, always good. We have our problems, of course, we all do, but the focus on getting that absolutely right remains absolutely core to our business. And as we grow the business over the next 15 or 20 years, and I mean, there are some step changes coming of what Emirates is going to be doing in the next 15 to 20 years. Through it all, we will never, ever lose sight of what it means to keep the passengers interested in us, whether it be the 380s, whether the new aircraft coming along, etc. We design those, we select those, we build those on the basis of putting the passenger first. And we will actually walk the talk. A lot of brands talk the talk. Passenger first, customer friendly, they're not. And they don't meet the expectations that they create within their brand marketing. The trick is to create the set of products and get a very strong marketing brand group to tell people, trust us. We're going to be good. We're going to innovate. We're going to cause you to smile when you get on our airplanes, because we'll have done things differently. We'll change. It's quite difficult to do with the tube, but in the end, we're doing all sorts of things, even now, about what we were doing for the ground operations and air operations in the next 5 or 10 years.
It's very interesting, and actually you're touching on something that I would like to develop a little bit, which is about the digital platforms. At the same time, obviously, you get a much bigger reach in terms of amplifying the brand, but at the same time, you may lose basically the direct engagement. So how Emirates actually keeps having this direct engagement with customers and reducing the reliance of intermediaries. Because as you actually start expanding, obviously, your digital platforms, you actually are more concerned on hearing your customers every day, understanding their needs, their preferences. So how is actually Emirates doing this towards keeping the same level of experience that has been running in the last years?
You know, technology at the moment is an enabler. It allows us to understand better what our customers want. And of course, in the last 20, 30 years, the aspirations and the characteristics are changing, have changed. They are influenced by all sorts of things going on in the world today, whether it be fashion, whether it be socioeconomic forces, whether it be a change out in wealth distribution. All these things have an effect on what people are. So we try and keep an eye on all of those. We collate and collect terabytes of data in just about everything that we do, whether it be the aircraft flying, the engines, what our passengers are, our loyalty programs, etc. We use those to not, let's say, monetize. We use those to look at what it is that we should be doing to make things better. Ergo, you can monetize, but you're not setting out to monetize data. You're there to use data to help you be a better thing in the future. And if you get that right, and even though when you're dealing with a human being, and we travel, we serve multiple cities in the world, all the continents you can think, the diversity of ethnicity, of the mix of passengers that we carry on our aeroplanes, it's very difficult to collect it all and fine-tune product design to what an Argentinian may want, or somebody from Hangzhou, or from Moscow, or from whatever. So the trick is to try and do the best you can. But through it all, we're human beings. We're just average people. We all want to sort of sit and eat comfortably. We like to have televisions. We like to have comfortable seats. We like to have, you know, first-class legroom in economy if we could. But, you know, but in the end, that's the common theme in all of it. Understand the human, understand what he or she wants, keep a constant focus on that, adapt. Don't allow yourself to be complacent and your product cycle has become ineffective to you because you haven't renewed, you haven't innovated, you haven't continued to attract the customers. We are addicted to consumerism. We love buying things. We love cars and iPhones and everything else out there, etc. Because in the last 20, 30 years, technology and all the bits and pieces has started producing these things, creating that diversity of products, which is great. We need to do the same, but through it all, remember the basics. We're carrying humans, look after them, really, and that's just not on the planes as well, but it's making sure that you talked about personalization, the digital platforms that allow us to do that. It's nice to have that, and we're working on that, but I don't want it overcooked in the sense that you're almost dictating what the passenger should or should not be doing because he or she has done that in the past. Actually, they want to change, etc. So you're adapting all the time, but as long as you do accept that there are a lot of things on the planet today that are changing the way we think and act. Makes life confusing, but when you travel on Emirates, we're going to look after you. You're going to have fun. You're going to have great crew looking after you, doing the right thing by you as best we can. Nothing's perfect, but
absolutely. You also mentioned, and you mentioned this already a couple of times, Emirates makes people move from point A to be. But the experience with Emirates starts when I'm exploring where should I go, where should I spend. But then there's a critical aspect that I think Emirates doesn't control, which is basically the infrastructure limitations that we have in the airports. And that actually, as you just mentioned, you're flying to several continents, so you really need to manage these expectations. How does basically Emirates navigate these challenges and maintains the high standards in customer experience? Because in the end, regardless if in the plane the experience is excellent, the overall experience that the passenger has is since the moment he left his home and arrive at the destination.
Yeah, that's one of those elements of our end-to-end product which is always difficult to control because we don't. What we do is we work with the airport operators as best we can. We create separate check-in areas. We try and introduce our own fast track. We have multiple lounges all over the world, being rolled out all the time, refreshed all the time, expanded, so that as best we can in the real estate that we don't control, we are trying to inject our product on the ground so people can start their destination at least at the airports where we can control, and we spend an awful lot of time with some very difficult airport operators. I have to be quite honest. They're not the most sympathetic to their clients, which are the airlines. In fact, there's World War III in some of them going on. But Emirates tries to build these relationships with these airports to try and get them on side. And most of the time, they really like Emirates as a brand, as an airline coming into their airports, particularly with the 380. And they go out of their way to try and help us. And I've seen for other airlines in the same airports, they don't get the same treatment that we do. That's because we have built these relationships over time. We have been consistently good in terms of our presence, our punctuality, our products. When Emirates says it's going to do something, it does it. It doesn't go in and say, I'm going to do it, and then do it 50% or 30%. So they trust us. They like us there, especially if a 380 is going to one of these airports and 500 people empty their pockets in their duty-free. They're very happy about that. Whereas a 737 with 150 is a bit different. So these are the kind of things that we build. Most of the time, that's how we do it. But it's not good in every place that we fly to.
One of the things that sometimes it doesn't come first when we're talking about Emirates is the people that are inside the planes that take care of us from point A to point B. In this regards, and I think that definitely that's part of the success of the company, what kind of different initiatives you actually take forward to ensure this, I would say, this excellence in terms of service, not only on the check-in, but as well inside the plane?
Well, it starts with recruitment. We have to get the right people in. We have probably about 35,000 front of house, customer-facing people, whether it be ground, air crew, call centers, whatever it may be. You need to get the right people in to do this. So we, as far as cabin crew and ground staff, we're fairly demanding about who comes on board. Then, of course, you've got to train them. One of the things that helps us, if you are aspiring to join a company like Emirates, you're joining a very successful airline. It's got an incredible brand reputation. It's known as being one of the best airlines in the world today. I'm not blowing our trumpet. It's simply, these are the facts. Something that we've earned, the whole employee base has earned. So people aspire to that when they get going into and they're selected and go into the training process, they're really fired up. They want to be part of it. They don't want to let the company down or their colleagues. So we get a high degree of engagement through the very intensive training programs we have at Ab Initio for the cabin crew. They then go throughout their careers training courses and programs which are all designed either for promotion or enhancing their service skills. We're just about to start almost like a Michelin 2-star hospitality offering in our training school, where we've had Michelin chefs coming in to teach our cabin crew as if they were waiting a fine dining table in one of their restaurants. We're training the trainers, and that works through all the crew that eventually be serving in first class. These are initiatives that we're always trying to improve the way we do things. And the beauty about it is our staff are really fired up. If you ask them to put unlimited caviar or how to serve Dom Perignon or how to serve some of the fine clarets in first class or whatever we do in the bar and the 380, etc., these are now trained professionals who really want to do the job. And so you'll see, and the kind of feedback I certainly get from my service audit people and customers, that the relationship that the flight crew have, the cabin crew have with the passengers is a real strong bond. They like the people that they're looking after. More often than not, you see, they're not interested in the people they're looking after. They're just doing a job. So we train them in that respect. And that is so vital to what we do, both in the air and on the ground. And not forgetting even the back of house people, our call center staff who are doing, and I insist that 3 calls and you're picked up by a human being on our call centers. I don't want robots. I don't want machines. I want to hear a human voice interacting with a human voice. The more you do of that, the more our customer base grows because they have the human touch. And, so now, as you'll probably see, we have returned to the high street with our retail operation. This is a complete departure from airline think of the last 20, 30 years. And we're doing that for 2 reasons. One, we're using the windows as mega marketing tools because we control the messaging throughout from here if we want. But we're actually introducing people back into the offices. Well, it's amazing the success we've had. People are going in there. They like to talk about their lives, and occasionally buy a ticket. But these offices are filled up again. And it's clear that walk-ins and people who just want to service their things or just have a chat with anybody are coming to the Emirates offices because they like going in there. And I can see this being picked up by all my competitors as they will normally copy and paste something like that. You suddenly see a whole lot of offices back on the high street again. But it's great fun. We're trying to innovate, keep things interesting, and that's part of the essence of what we do.
That's amazing. It's really amazing. Another aspect that actually comes out of our report is the increasing importance of sustainability and environment initiatives. And even though this doesn't come directly, sometimes when we actually are facing a brand, it's on the top of consumers, and this is very clear in our study. So, how is Emirates taking an enhanced sustainability in the operations and even on the way they actually deliver the promise in a day by day?
Emirates is very concerned about its footprint. Just because we're citizens of this planet, and none of us are going to be here forever, we have to consider what's happening to the planet for the generations to come. So we try and do as best we can with regard to stripping out the adverse effects on environment that we may create, such as, whether it be our catering, whether it be the way we operate our aeroplanes. If you see, you can't see now, but aircraft will taxi in and out on one engine on a twin. We've shut them down, save fuel in the 380 if we can do, or go out on 2 engines before it takes off, and when it lands, it shuts them down to keep the toxins off the airfield as well as stop burning them. We have a whole range of things going on. We put $200 million into an environmental bank to fund any entity that could help us reduce our footprint, whether it be SAF research, whether we're heavily into SAF, but there simply isn't enough. But where we can, the whole management, whether it be rubbish collection to stripping out plastics from the airplane to the footprint and how we go about our all the areas, the electric vehicles coming onto the ramp here, which is Donata, the way we are designing the new airfield down in Jebel Ali, Al Maktoum International. Hopefully it'll be a net zero building in the sense that all the sustainable alternative power will be used to drive that field. So we're moving down a path. Rome wasn't built in a day, and we can only do but what we can do given the technology that exists at the moment. But, one thing has happened since 2006. So when I think about Al Gore and, the inconvenient truth, there's one thing that happened, you mentioned it, that consumers and all the people on the planet, most of them are concerned about what is a clear and present threat to our future existence. And they all want to do something about it. They make choices. What we try and do with Emirates is to try and say, our brand, we're not going to greenwash. I won't allow any greenwashing. Our brand we are what we are. We'll tell you what we're doing, and we'll be out there as best we can to say, this is what we can. Judge us on what we do, not what others say we're doing, or they're kind of in the area creating too much smoke and mirrors in what's going on there. And we have a very good track record. And in fact, only yesterday, we decided that we needed to put all this together in a far more meaningful, structured fashion so that our marketeers can actually present to the passengers that are looking at us, either regulars or looking to travel, what we're actually doing. The elephant in the room, of course, is fossil fuels, but we're a long time off getting rid of that completely. I wish we could. But everything around it, we're on it. We're determined to crack it as best we can. And don't forget, Dubai has one of the largest solar arrays in the world. It is conceivable that by 2030, 40 to 45% of Dubai's power will come from alternative sources, solar or whatever it may be. And we're doing as best we can to run in tandem with the government's mandates to get this sorted. And we'll do that.
No, thank you. Thank you so much. Now, again, we talked a little bit about the past, and actually it's the present and looking ahead. So what is your vision for Emirates in the next decade? How do you plan to actually continue to set this benchmark, not only on the aviation industry, but actually in most of the sectors that we have? Because we as KPMG, when we are actually working with other sectors, most of the time benchmarking is with Emirates. So what is basically the vision that we should expect for the next 10 years? Let's put it this way.
Well, let's call it 20 years. 20 years, you ain't seen nothing yet. We have great plans. We are executing those plans now. Whether they be fleet, whether it be network, whether it be the new airport in Jebel Ali, Al Maktoum, which will be the largest of its kind in the world, ever built. So that's part of the jigsaw of the future. On top of that, and very much driving a lot of it, is what goes on in Dubai. And Dubai, as I can see it, is kind of almost a non-linear growth, because all the ingredients and the stars are aligned. I don't see, unless there's a geopolitical event, I don't see the way the government has constructed the operating model of Dubai changing in its scalability. So you're now looking at more and more businesses, more and more people coming into Dubai, wanting to work, high net worth individuals, all sorts, because the job creation is going at pace. So the demand for the airline. So the way I'm looking at it is that Emirates will expand its operations internationally, significantly so. I'm not going to say what, because too many people want to know what we're going to do. These are already mapped till 2041. Okay, we have a detailed plan which sees where we're going to go, with what, when, and how. Behind that, and in parallel to it, is the change out in our products, the way we go about our engagement with our passengers. The passenger base will probably rise from, we carry about 1.5 million people a week at the moment. That will more than double in the next 10 years, and then accelerate as we go to the new airport. But all the time, as I said, you will see us innovating, refreshing, and frankly, I'm never fazed. Some people say to me, do you know what it costs to change out a first class cabin number 380? I said, well, it's $20 million. I said, that's nothing. We'll just do it. What does it do to change out the TV systems? What does it do to change out the Wi-Fi systems with all the operators that are out there? What does it change to change the seats? How do we do our check-in? And we're just about to open our first class check-in lounge at Dubai. Where do we have to go with our lounges? How big do they have to be? The more successful we become, the more pressure on these customer-facing bits of real estate, such as the lounges. We are not afraid to spend as much as it takes to ensure that we always satisfy the customers. A lot of airlines are cutting champagne or moving on to water and orange juice. I won't say who they are, but this is completely the wrong way to go. We go the other way. After COVID, when every airline was in deep trouble, we weren't alone. Fortunately, the government helped us out. We doubled down on product. So we actually spent a lot more and we've got the fleet going through retrofit. That's a $5.5 billion program. So the will to take the business forward for the future based on those 40 years of hard-earned reputation and brand will continue, and we will continue, past me, to shock and stun the people that are going to come on board us. Watch, because some of the things that we've already designed and are in the pipeline for manufacture are coming, and they will appear within the next few years. And it'll be great fun, because when you travel on Emirates, you're thinking, right, now I'm home. If you live in Dubai, if you're not, so now I can relax, sit down. Whether I'm in economy, I'm trying to change out all the designs of the economy seats because they're not good enough at the moment, to the premium cabins that we get all the plaudits for, etc. If we stagnate and leave it as they are, we're toast. We must constantly be on the way. So our future is about expansion, and it's not expansion for the sake of it. It's expansion because it's good for the airline, it's good for the traveling population and global population, which is upwardly very mobile. The population of 7.2 billion grows. People are forgetting that it's not shrinking. It might shift in its sectorial content, aging, whatever it may be, but it's growing. And countries suddenly become economically powerful, the BRIC countries or whatever. So we look at all of that and we go after those markets, and we'll be there first, second, third level cities with all the fleet that we've got coming. So we will reach just about every city on the planet. And the Emirates brand already very significant, even in countries that we don't fly to. We will exercise, we will constantly be good at what we do. And the management that come after the current management, I hope will have that instilled and ingrained in the DNA of the company as it goes forward. Because if we don't do that, we let Dubai down. Dubai needs us to be big, bold and beautiful and successful. This isn't just a company that's doing it and losing money. We have to make money and we have to pay our way. And the trick of the management is to do all those things and still have the brand that represents Dubai and parts of the world that, the Dubai brand may not be known, but frankly, there aren't many of those now. So if all this continues on the basis of what we built, then I don't see a problem with that at all. I can see us, as I said, in the next 15 years, by the early 40s, being one of the best and biggest and most beautiful airlines on the planet. I don't see any reason why that should be any different than it is today.
No, amazing. And again, congratulations again for this amazing first place, 3 years consecutive.
Thank you.
At the same time that our study gets the feedback from customers, it's even more, I would say, important to get from the first person, the mastermind behind all this strategy. And as you just mentioned, eventually in 10 or 15 years, we will be sitting here again, not in this place, hopefully in the new airport. And again, celebrating again Emirates to bringing actually a next level of customer experience, not only to the aviation sector, but as I was telling you, to all the sectors, because it's definitely the benchmark. Sir Tim, thank you so much for your time, and hope to see you very, very soon. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks.